I could barely open my eyes. Everything was a blur, white walls, flashing lights, and voices echoing somewhere above me. Someone shouted, "She's crashing." Another voice pressed on my chest. And through the fog, one name slipped out of my mouth. Marianne. My sister. If anyone had told me that a simple DNA test, one she insisted we take just for fun, would land me in a hospital bed fighting for breath, I would have laughed. But here I was, tubes in my arm, my heart screaming louder than any machine around me. Because just hours earlier, I'd opened an email that shattered everything I believed about family, about love, about trust. And staring back at me from that DNA report, was my sister's face beside a secret I was never meant to see. All I remember before everything went black, was that one impossible truth. How could my sister's secret nearly cost me my life? It all started out as a bit of harmless fun. Marianne had seen one of those commercials about discovering your hidden roots and said, "Let's do it, Helen. Maybe we've got royal blood somewhere." I laughed and went along with it. We ordered 2 DNA kits and spent that Sunday afternoon spitting into tiny tubes over cups of tea and lemon cake. 3 weeks later, my results came in first. Nothing surprising, a blend of English, Irish, and a pinch of Scandinavian. My family tree was exactly as dull as I expected. I called Marianne to tease her, but she didn't pick up. I texted, she replied hours later with a short, "Still waiting on mine." Then, days turned into weeks. Marianne grew different. Our daily calls became rare, her laughter sounded forced, and she stopped turning on her camera during our Sunday chats. I asked if everything was okay, and she brushed it off, said she'd been busy with church work. One evening, curiosity got the better of me. Since we'd created a shared DNA account, I logged in to check if her results had arrived. They had. And right beneath her name, under the close family section, was something that froze me completely. A name I didn't recognize. A young woman, listed as a daughter match, not to her, but to me. My hand trembled as I whispered, "Why does it say I have a daughter I never gave birth to?" I didn't sleep that night. I sat in bed, laptop open, staring at that DNA screen until sunrise. A daughter match, connected to me. There had to be some mistake. By morning, my hands were shaking too much to hold my coffee. I dialed Marianne, no answer. So I drove. When she opened the door, she looked startled, like she'd seen a ghost. "Why didn't you tell me your results came in?" I asked. My voice was too calm, the kind of calm that comes before a storm. She stammered, "Margaret, it's nothing serious." "Nothing serious?" I held up my phone and turned the screen toward her. "Then tell me why this says I have a daughter." Her eyes filled instantly. She stepped back, clutching her chest. "Please, Helen, don't." I took a step forward. "Marianne. What have you done?" For a moment, silence. Then the dam broke. She dropped to her knees, sobbing. "You weren't supposed to find out like this. They told us you lost the baby. The doctors, they said she was gone." My world tilted. "Gone?" My voice cracked. "You mean?" "I couldn't have children," she cried. "And you were so broken." "The doctor, he arranged it privately. I thought I was protecting you. I raised her as my own. I did it out of love." Love. That word cut through me like glass. "You stole my child, Marianne. My baby." She reached for my hand. "I never wanted to hurt you." But I couldn't hear her anymore. The room spun, her face blurred. My chest tightened, pain shooting through my arm. "Margaret. Margaret, stay with me." The last thing I saw was my sister's tear-streaked face leaning over me, then everything went dark, the beeping of a heart monitor fading into silence. When I opened my eyes, the light above me was blinding. Everything hurt, my head, my chest, even my heartbeat. The doctor's calm voice came through the haze. "Mrs. Clarke, you suffered a hypertensive crisis. Your blood pressure spiked dangerously, but you're stable now. Please, no stress. Then I heard a soft sob beside me. Marianne sat close, clutching my hand like it was the only thing keeping her steady. Her mascara had run, her face looked years older. Margaret, she whispered. I have to tell you the truth. You deserve to know everything. My stomach clenched. What truth? Her voice shook as tears fell. All those years ago, when you had your baby, you remember, you passed out during labor? The doctor said she didn't make it, but that was a lie. I froze. What are you talking about? The doctor was my old friend, she sobbed. He told me the baby was alive but weak, that you might not survive another shock. He said if we told you the truth, your heart wouldn't handle it. He also knew I couldn't have children, and he offered to register the baby under my name. I blinked, speechless. You'd listed me as your next of kin, she continued. He let me sign the papers. He falsified the stillbirth record and gave me the baby that same night. I told everyone I'd adopted her from a family friend. No one questioned it, it was a small town, and you were too sick to see her. My lips trembled. So while I mourned my child, you were raising her in secret? Marianne covered her face and nodded. I thought I was protecting you, but I stole from you instead. The room tilted. Every sound faded, except the truth. My sister's love had stolen my life's greatest joy. What would you do if you discovered your sister raised you? A week after I left the hospital, Marianne finally told her. My daughter, though it still felt strange to call her that out loud. Her name was Emily. 35 years old. A school counselor, mother of two, the child I had mourned my whole life without knowing she was still breathing somewhere out there. When Marianne called to say she'd told her everything, her voice was shaking. She doesn't want to see either of us right now. The words cut deeper than any diagnosis could. Emily's anger was fierce, and I couldn't blame her. To her, I was a stranger claiming motherhood from thin air, and Marianne, the woman she called mom her entire life, had lied about everything. I wrote Emily letters, long ones. Every night. I told her about the day I thought she died, the empty crib, the smell of baby powder that lingered for months. I told her I never stopped praying for her soul, not knowing she was walking this earth all along. But the letters came back unopened. There were nights I sat by the window until sunrise, asking God where to place the blame. On the doctor? On my sister? On myself for not asking more questions back then? The house felt too quiet, too wide for one heart carrying so much regret. Then, one rainy afternoon, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I want to meet. Tomorrow. Just you. My hands trembled so badly I nearly dropped the phone. The next morning, I set the table for two. Tea. Lemon cake. The same way it all began. And when I heard a soft knock at the door, I froze. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. My hands hovered above the table, trembling. Then I opened the door. She stood there, taller than I remembered, though I had only known her as a baby in dreams. Her hazel eyes were cautious, guarded, but so achingly familiar. I'd seen those eyes before, in the mirror. Emily, I whispered. She hesitated before stepping inside, her posture stiff, her gaze scanning the room. I don't know what to say, she murmured. Neither do I replied, forcing a smile. But we can start with tea. We sat in silence, the air heavy with years of unspoken truth. I wanted to reach across the table, to touch her hand, but I didn't. I just watched her stir her tea, the same way I used to, slow circles, counterclockwise. She finally looked up. You knew me all my life, didn't you? Every birthday, every Christmas, and you never said anything. Tears burned my eyes. I believed you were gone, sweetheart. I mourned you. And when I found out you were alive, it nearly broke me all over again. Her lips quivered. Mom, Marianne, she's been crying nonstop. I know, I whispered. And I've forgiven her. I hope someday you can too. Emily looked away, her shoulders shaking. Then, slowly, she reached across the table and placed her hand over mine. Warm. Trembling. Real. I don't know if I can call you Mom, she said, but maybe we can start with Helen. I nodded, tears spilling freely now. Helen is enough. And in that fragile silence, something inside me began to heal, not completely, but enough to breathe again. It's been 6 months since that day at my doorstep. Since I looked into the eyes of the child I thought I'd buried 35 years ago. Emily visits now, not often, but enough to make the house feel alive again. We talk about small things. Her boys. Her garden. Sometimes, we talk about Marianne, who's still trying to forgive herself. It's not perfect. None of it is. But it's real. And I've learned something I wish I'd known long ago. Family isn't built on perfection, it's held together by truth. For years, I lived believing lies were safer than pain. But the truth, even when it breaks you, is what finally sets you free. Sometimes, I still wake at night and touch the photo frame by my bed, the one of the 3 of us together, smiling again. The scars are there, but they don't ache as much anymore. If you've ever lost someone, to death, to lies, or to time, know this, it's never too late to reach out. Healing doesn't erase the past, but it makes room for peace in the present. Family isn't perfect, but truth brings healing. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes secrets never surface, because they always do.